What's up guys, and welcome to Planet Coaster Builds with me, Chay. We are here once again playing a little bit more of Planet Coaster. Now in today's video we're going to be making our first ever kind of park entrance sort of thing. Now I've never made one of these yet, so I'm still learning the best ways to make these. And I was a little bit confused when I was making them because, you know, these sort of entrance ways, I'm not really quite sure which way around they're supposed to go. There's no kind of obvious... It goes this way around. I tend to put it down in the way in which the words are. So if you're walking in, you can read the words. It's just a bit... I'm not really sure. It's a bit weird, really. But anyway, we're in the sandbox mode of Planet Coaster, trying to build ourselves our first ever park entrance. Now, everything I build on this series will be available on the Steam Workshop. So we'll post a link in the description below about where you can get hold of this if you want to. You don't have to. It's just things I thought I might as well add these on because, you know, I'm spending time to build them, so I might as well do something with them. So yeah, this is the first one we are building. Now this is kind of like a it's hard to explain what kind of style this is. Now the park that I'm creating here is called Wonderland, so it's kind of a, I guess it's a fairy tale sort of entrance. It's kind of castle-y. But there's still work to be done. This is kind of the basic one that I've built, but I'm bound to add to it. So, you know, expect that if you do decide to download it, expect there to be changes of some kind on the Steam Workshop version. So just keep an eye out, because ye never knew, there might be some changes on there. So to start things off, we have just built a kind of basic shape of a kind of large entranceway, trying to see how I can kind of build these things up. Now we add these across the entire board, but I kind of look at these and think, no, I think the sides need to be lower down, because it just kind of has this, I don't know, it makes the central one that little bit more grander, and because there's a height on that, it makes more sense for it to be higher up and a bit more grander in that kind of scheme of things. So that's what I decided to do here. I wasn't really sure which way to take that, but, you know, I thought we'll give it a go, we'll see how it looks. A lot of this is me kind of playing around with stuff. I don't really have a particular plan. I'm just kind of going with the flow and trying to figure out what different pieces I can use here that look better. Now we end up going for this one, which adds this kind of top kind of, I don't know what it is. It's just like this kind of layer sort of thing. It has this a bit of a weirdness to it. One of them kind of arch surround ways. It kind of looks like that, really. But I wasn't really sure about which way to go with it. But we decided we're going to stick with how it is there. And continue just kind of moving up. Now we've got kind of like a stepped sort of system going on here. We've got 3 different levels. Now the actual, what it ends up as when I actually finish this, you know, I build this opening kind of entranceway, but I do add quite a lot onto it off of screen, so I'm unsure about whether I'm going to upload it to contain that as well, or if I'm going to leave it just as it is currently. I'm not really sure, because I added a wall, and kind of a wall that goes all the way up to the side there, like the mountainside sort of thing, so it has this kind of entrance courtyard thing. But I decided I was going to leave it as just this entranceway, because I thought, you guys, if you wanted to add stuff to it, then you know, obviously you can. You're more than welcome to do that. But for me, I decided to add this and just leave it as the central kind of main point of the entrance part. And that's what we did. We decided to go along those kind of lines, and we left it as that. But I had a bit of trouble here, thinking like, what the hell's going on with these sides? Like, where the... I don't know why, but I mean, well, I actually figured out why. It was because they were placing on the rooftops down below, and not the actual size of everything else. So it kind of confused me briefly. I was like, what on earth is going on here? I'm not really sure. It took me ages to figure this one out, but... You know, well, never mind. You know, I removed the whole lot and was like, what is going on? What is happening here? I was getting kind of confused, but I also realised that I was building on slightly the wrong side, and not the proper squareness, because otherwise it kind of hangs over. If you don't have them on the same kind of side, so when you're building these, if you have a grid, and if you don't build it on the same parts of the grid, so if you build half of it on the inside of the square and the other half on the outside, it's slightly rectangular in the state where things hang over edges and don't look very good. So you have to kind of make sure that when you're building things like this, you need to make sure that you've got it on the grids properly. Otherwise, it just kind of turns out looking like a bit of a piece of crap. but you know, we get there in the end, and I'm gradually learning, gradually getting better. The hardest part about this is actually trying to come up with something, as opposed to actually being able to build it itself. It's coming up with the idea in the first place, to try and come up with something a bit more interesting. But we're going to go for these kind of roof kind of style here. Now, what I wanted to do was close off these sides, but I ended up sort of using these. I ended up changing it so it was this way around instead of the side, because the one thing that annoys me about these particular pieces is there's nothing really in the game that you can just fill in those gaps with. You have to kind of make there's no bits of walls that just sit in there, and you have to kind of build them up yourselves and do little various things. But in some cases, you can get a wall which is the perfect shape, or just sits in there with a roof. It's just this particular roof style just doesn't do it, and it's kind of annoying. But you know, hey ho, never mind. We have to come up with we use these kind of triangular kind of A-frame style ones just to fill in the gaps, just try and make it a little bit better, really. The only downside to it is you can often get these kind of overlaps, as you can see there. There's like a, it's like a clipping, but it's not. It's like a clipping, but not a clipping. It's just like this. There's just this extra bit that you can kind of just see. It's not too bad because once you've got everything else on the building, it masks it. But when you're first building it, you can clearly see that there's things missing, and there's not missing. There's other bits there which aren't sort of proper. They're not supposed to be there, if that makes sense. But we do manage to do it nonetheless. But like I said, you can actually see where the triangles have been placed. But once you start adding stuff to the faces of the walls, once you start adding stuff to the walls, you'll notice that they kind of phase out, and you'll miss them anyway. You don't notice them. But it's just when you're building it, it's kind of annoying. That's just the only thing I was thinking of it. It's just as I'm building this, I'm kind of, I can see these things. If I can see them, surely everyone else can see them, and it's kind of a bit of an annoyance. But I'm still getting used to how all these tools work. I'm getting better. I'm not any kind of Silverette kind of style building, but I'm getting better and learning the better ways of doing stuff now, like duplications and stuff to make my life easier and quicker. But I do realise I need to flip this around. But that, you know, I've done the front half of the building nice and easily. The best builders build half a building and then will literally just kind of copy and paste and duplicate. They'll build kind of like one half and then flip it around and it works. It just sits perfectly. But I'm not that good. I'm not that kind of builder. But you know, it's just for me. It's just my personal preference on how I tend to build these things. It's just, I don't know. I just like doing it this way. I like kind of taking my time with these and seeing where I can go with them. But we're actually almost done with the outside here. We're just adding these sort of double roofing, these double kind of spires. I wanted these bits to be, you know, the main bit in the middle is almost like a clock tower kind of style things, and I wanted these side bits to be a little less in your face. I was thinking about having one large bit at the top, but I kind of thought it was going to look ridiculous and it would be too high. So instead, I had these on the top, but I realised that I'm going to need to add a bit more height to this. Just because, you know, I feel like I want to have a clock face up there. So now that I've got all that done, I can just start adding all the detailing. And I love these. I love these sort of gold toppers. I think they're brilliant. They're some of the most, you know, the nicest looking kind of things you can add to this game. Especially when you start embedding them into the walls, because you get this nice gold kind of, as you can see there, this gold line. As you've added them in, they have this very much this gold kind of sense to them. Now I wanted to put them in more places, but I couldn't really find anywhere else to put them. But so instead we used the golden spires on top of each of these. It just makes it look a lot more grand, a lot nicer to look at, especially for an entranceway. It needs to be pretty good. But like I said, the actual finished product of this is probably going to get updated a little bit, because now that I've added more to the entranceway in my actual game itself, you know, I may upload these as a kind of an updated version. But you know, we've got the building, we've got the we've got the outside, you know, the kind of the shape of it done. But because it's an entranceway, we want to make sure it looks good. So we had these sort of banners as well to kind of go down with. But I'm trying to think of different things. I wanted some more flags on here, but there aren't any in that kind of style which I've got on the buildings already that kind of sit there nicely. So instead, we go for this kind of red, blue kind of colour scheme and add this kind of weird sleeping dragon shield on the top of it, which I spotted, which is how that'll do. That looks pretty good. But we decided to go for a nice big clock face at the top here. Just because, I don't know, it's nice to be able to, for something like this kind of entrance, it's nice to have a really big clock face at the top, which you can, I mean, I can light it up if I wanted to, but it's already lit up anyway. But we need to focus more on what we're doing with the outside to make it look good. So I'm trying to do the windows now, trying to come up with a good size kind of window to sit on here. And I opt for these sort of churchy, they're called the castle windows, but they look very kind of church-like and interesting. I was going to put some more in the way of those kind of window underneaths, but I didn't get around to doing that. Now you'll notice as well that I leave the sides of this unchanged, nothing on them, like the very, very sides of it, like the two bits at the very end. The simple reason because I didn't want to have anything there, because the plan was to add a wall that kind of walls off, which I do in the end. I do add that. But I decided to leave it because I thought, right, if I'm going to add a wall there, there's no point in me having anything there. And it gives, obviously, if you download it, it gives you the opportunity to add things there as well. But I will include a picture at the end with the final product of what I've kind of built. At the very, very end, I'll put that on there just so you can see what I'm on about. But it looks a lot better. I mean, I can't really complain in the kind of sense. It did turn out a lot better than I thought it was going to. I was kind of a bit, I'm not really a person that does these builds, so I was kind of a bit skeptical about how well it would work out. But it turns out okay. I was minorly happy, majorly, somewhat, kind of, a little bit happy about how it did turn out. And in all fairness, I was more than pleased with this. Now, for me, things I need to learn how to do differently is more efficient building, I guess. I'm not a very efficient builder. You get people that, like I said, they'll build half of it and just duplicate and flip around, which is obviously the key to efficiency. But not me. I kind of just wing it and just go with the flow, really. I'm not really someone that is very efficient, but that would come with practice and stuff like that, of making like an efficient sort of style. So this is Wonderland. I'm making this whole park is going to be called Wonderland. We're going to have quarters. I've even built what is it? It's like a train station sort of thing. I've built a train station house as well, but I'm not going to upload that because, I might do, but it's not exactly amazing. But I may upload it, I may not. More than likely I probably won't. But we need to light this as well, because we want to make sure that these look good in the evenings as well, because obviously if you have the circle of where it goes to night time and then flicks around to day, or unless you just have it as one big kind of bit of madness, really. But we need to make sure it's lit up as well, because the buildings in this game look absolutely incredible when they're lit up, and especially when you light them up properly. You see some people that light these things up and you're just like, oh my lord, that looks insane. And the one thing I do like about this is finally they've added text to this. They didn't have this in the I don't think they had it in the betas. They may have done, but I never noticed it. But it's nice that they've got text in here as well that we can actually add stuff to and make things a little bit better. Just because it looks better. It just looks better when you can have your own text in there instead of having to try and make it using bits of wood and whatnot. Sometimes it looks really good using bits of wood because some things just looks better. But in this sense, I decided to just add this kind of those Wonderland sort of fancy, hey look, welcome to Wonderland, you're here, yay, woo, go, go, go. But we do add a lot of foliage, a bit of plants and stuff like that on the outside here. Like I said, I will show you a screenshot of the whole kind of final thing when it's done, which kind of adds these walls. It just encloses this whole bit off. It just basically makes it just one enclosure for people when they walk in. It's just this kind of straight off. Oh look, you're in like a thing. It's welcome to the thing and the thing and the thing. Do I actually have? I can't remember if I even add anything up there. I think I ignore it and just don't bother putting it up there at all. Or put a light. I actually can't remember. I'm trying to find something to put up there to see, because it's a bit of a space. But I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what to put up there. I think I'll just leave it in the end. But that is basically it, guys. That is basically the entranceway we've got there. Like I said, we do add a few plants and things like that to the outside just to make it look a bit nicer, because you kind of have to do this because it's part of the whole. It's part of the entrance. I really like these lights, whatever these are called. I can't remember what are they. They're called lantern towers. They look really nice, especially when they're lit up. They have this really nice kind of feature to it. But we add a couple of hanging lights as well on here, just because. Oh no, sorry, not hanging lights. They're like torches, because it's very medieval. We like the torches style of things. And it adds a bit more of a nicer light to it. It's this kind of natural firelight, which is always good. But we do add some of these weird, crazy spotlights, just because, we need them. We need them. It gets a bit crazy. As you can see, I've added some on here now, but they're too bright. So I have to get rid of some of them because it's just ridiculous. They're like glowing like mad. But it looks okay. The lighting on it's not too bad. We do have to add a couple of these where we can sync them in, just so it lights up certain parts of this, like I wanted to light up the underneath and the kind of these bits of the banners, just because it just looks better with this kind of lighting feature going up the side of the building. Especially from below, it kind of adds this, I don't know, it just adds this nice kind of feel to it. It has a really just different kind of feel. I don't know if you can light up the backs of windows. I don't know how these windows work. I've seen people light up like entire like buildings, so I need to play around with the lighting of some ones you can get and see if it will actually light up the whole lot. But I need to change this. I think that I need to add a lot more lighting on here. Because I find that, I don't know, it's just not as good as it could be. It's an odd one, really. It's difficult to light things because you can't just skip to the day, or can you? I know, I actually think you can just skip to the day. I've just noticed a button that might enable you to actually skip to the day, night time, sorry, which is kind of annoying because I didn't know that. but oh well. But we're adding just a few more bits of lighting just under these main, under and above the main windows and stuff, because it just adds this kind of churchish kind of feel, this grandness to it. But there you have it. There is the entranceway to Wonderland. Like I said, the link will be in the description below, and I will add a video at the end, a video or a clip or a picture or whatever of how it turned out with the walls as well. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you did enjoy this. Like I said, the link to this is in the description below. Make sure you go check it out. If you like it, subscribe and do whatever. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you when I see you. I want to see you when I see you, which will be in the not distant future. Toodle freaking all, friends. Goodbye.